Dude, Greeny Trades, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, mate. It's great to be here.
Let's just get straight into it, dude. Let's talk about the state of the trenches. I've had a couple of runners in the past couple of weeks. Housecoin has been the predominant kind of winner. I think I watched that and didn't bid. I definitely like allocated to earlier memes and then just decided that that wasn't the one that I should put more capital into.
Yeah.
So classic. Fartcoin is kind of leading as well. A lot of other soul memes have been brought up by this. Pengu as well had a really good day last week.
Yeah.
Do you think we can kind of trust the momentum of memes at the moment, or where do you see this all heading?
Yeah, I mean, I traded all three of those actually. So I bottom ticked Pengu to the absolute dot because I'm sort of farming their airdrop on Abstract chain. It's fantastic at the moment. So that's another whole conversation that we can talk about later. But no, Solana meme coins, yeah, I think there's definitely a place for them. As you would have said as well with Fartcoin, we were watching that in terms of when it started to grind up against resistance maybe about a month ago. And then it started to change its lower time frame structure to bullish. So it started to put in high lows and high highs on small time frames. And then so we decided to ape in at 290 mil. So we're up about 4 or 5x on that now. So yeah, fantastic trade there. But again, like I'm just looking for sort of charts like that. And then Housecoin, it was actually shared by Craig, one of my trade callers in GTG, the group that I run for trading. He called it 3 to 4 million, and it's now 115 million today. So a huge 40x call there for us as well. But no, there's definitely life in the markets. I'm seeing graduation rate go back up. We now have competitors to Pump.Fun. So obviously BonkBot came out and created their own platform. Radium's also cooking with volume from their protocol as well. So I think it's a good time where we had the Trump and Melania and then the Argentina coin and the African tokens that came out at the start of this year. And that really was the point of like everyone just like shitting the bed and going, look, I'm over meme coins. And as someone that I've traded meme coins actively, literally from about middle of 2023. So coming up on 2 years. And I quit. I was like, nah, I made money on Trump, made money on Melania, nothing crazy, but I swing trade them and I was like, nah, okay, I'm done now. It's manipulated. It's like extractive from those. The volume was really hurt after those sort of events too. But we have started to see the organic nature of sort of trending. We obviously had the routine meme go viral. We had Troll, which is going viral at the moment. We had Housecoin, as you spoke about. So there's definitely volume. There's definitely opportunities. There was a Grok token that we just looked at before. That's up 50 million inside a day. So
the Gork token, I saw
made.
that this morning. I'm just in this habit now of like logging in to Twitter in the mornings and then just seeing coins that I've missed, and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, cool,
Yeah,
great."
how's it the Australian times though, man? That's the other thing
Nice.
too. Hey?
Yeah. Oh man, it's just everything happens. Everything good happens at like 2 to 3 a.m.
Yeah,
and I'll stay up maybe till 1 doing this shit
I
anyway,
can't
and
do
it's
it.
just. It's always that fucking perfectly wrong time. Same thing with like Trump announcements, market stuff. Like you'll just go to bed with one market and wake up with a different one, and you're like,
Literally, yeah, 100%.
good.
Yeah, thanks,
I'm
buddy.
I'm glad I live down here. Yeah, no, like Trencher as well, like kind of
That's
reestablishing some art meta. There's all this shit that's happening that does make me very, very optimistic. But yeah, no, looking back at that Trump Melania washout, that was in. It feels wrong that was a few months ago. That feels like weeks in my mind.
Yeah,
That was January.
yeah, over 4 months ago now. It was like mid-January, I'm pretty sure, from memory, or late January. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Damn. Outside of memes, what's piquing your interest? Because memes are kind of like the front end of speculation of where you start to see it come back. But outside of there, what are you looking at that you're like, ooh, that's good, that's bad, healthy, unhealthy?
Well, I'm spending a lot of time with airdrops. I've made a lot of money from December. Just sort of not like farming's probably the wrong term, but just exploring a lot of these different opportunities that provide you with, in some cases 6-figure airdrop opportunities. So Abstract's obviously the most notable one that's been going crazy viral. So I'm spending a lot of time on that chain because Luca is by far one of the best founders and sort of pioneers of crypto worldwide. So you can't sort of fade the Pudgy Penguin ecosystem, which I have been a part of now for, probably like 9 months. So we got the Pengu airdrop, which was, I don't know, a crazy amount of money for that one. And then I do think Abstract will be very good in the coming months. Outside that, if you are a larger influencer on Twitter, you can do stuff like the Kaito airdrop. Like I think I earned nearly like 10 grand from that. So airdrops is definitely what I'm spending time outside of memes. But then also we trade futures leverage literally every day. So looking at perps markets, scalp trading, hourly sort of charts, but then also swing trading the higher time frame charts. And what I've noticed, to really answer your question, is we're starting to break out on a lot of altcoins and a lot of meme coins after a couple of months, if not 6 months of consolidation from the highs that we saw late last year. And we did manage to capture a couple of them, but I think what I'm now watching is that next pullback. And if we get that juicy sort of higher low forming, then that's where I'll probably ape in a bit of spot allocation, and then also probably quite a good amount of leverage trades.
I do want to chat to you about Abstract, but I'll do that in a second because I also had a little Pudgy and a few rogs.
Nice.
I did kind of farm the Pengu airdrop, but I have a lot of friends that are still avid Pudgy Penguiners, part of the huddle, and I'm meaning to get Luca on this show fucking ASAP. So Luca, if you're listening, I will get back to that email that
I can send him a DM
to me.
if you want. I can ask.
I've been teeing it up, but I just realized that there's an email sitting there somewhere from his PR chick being like, hey, what time? And I was like, ADHD wins again. When you're looking at, stuff forming a higher low, are you looking at Bitcoin majors? Where are you kind of paying the most attention to signal the rest of the market?
Yeah, great question. A lot of people get this wrong. Definitely Bitcoin is number one. I think the longer you're in crypto, the more you understand that BTC is king. And what BTC does actually really determines what the rest of the market does. So if BTC is showing a bullish structure, a bullish trend, then more than likely the rest of the market is going to sort of follow in that suit. If BTC is oscillating sideways, then that actually is really healthy because a lot of the liquidity starts to filter down into the lower ecosystems, into the trenches, into the abstract airdrops, right? But if BTC starts to sort of consolidate and go lower, that's when you start to see a lot of memes, a lot of altcoins suffer the most, because ultimately they are pegged to what BTC does. And if BTC starts to outperform them, then there's no point really holding a lot of these sort of altcoins. And I mean, or even memes. Like we've seen meme coins like MOG go from 1.5 billion all the way down to 190 million. Like that's a 90% drop. And if you're left bag holding, then you're literally doing it wrong. And so, BTC is the one I like to sort of watch. Then I like to take in quite a lot of information and analytics. So I'm looking at like what the dollar's doing. I'm looking at what total crypto market cap is doing as a whole. I'm also considering obviously what Trump's been doing since he has been in office, and considering all of what stocks are doing as well, because at the end of the day, they all kind of do have a confluence with risk appetite, let's call it, right? Where you're like, okay, the trenches are going to be hot now because everyone's kind of, the tariff news is out the back. We're not worried about that anymore. We're kind of on the horizon of some rate cuts. The Fed might actually print some more money. Global liquidity is going up quite aggressively. So there's a lot more bullish catalysts again, which therefore means people are a bit more risky with their money. And that's ultimately how you can sort of trade the trends in cryptocurrency. So it always starts with BTC, but then I also like to look at the specific chains that you'd maybe trading on. So Solana, for example, you want to maintain sort of an understanding with what's happening on its chart so that you can trade those meme coins and be like, well, should I rotate my profits into Solana, or should I rotate my profits out of Solana into USD or into Bitcoin, because Sol versus BTC is looking weaker. So a lot does go into it, and it's a good question that you did ask there.
Okay. What do you think of the whole alt season narrative? This is something that I see people still charting. I'm not sure. I'm not trying to like call anyone out here, but it's like I still see it being like, oh, ETH BTC, trust me, when it bounces again, that's when we'll see a return to alt season kind of thing. Personally, I feel like that's a pretty outdated model of looking at it, of like, trust me, when ETH goes back up, we'll just have a magical alt season. It's like, in 2021, but it's 2025. What's your read on the whole ETH BTC? Why do you think ETH is still underperforming so hard relative to BTC? Like, I mean, both have ETFs, both have institutional kind of, the opportunity for institutional flows. What's your read?
Great, literally the same sort of take as you. That was a great model for 2021 and maybe even to 22, 23, was ETH versus BTC and the strength in that chart or the weakness in that chart to determine altcoin strength. As technology sort of evolves, as time goes on, you have innovation, right? And so what we've seen more recently is a lot more innovation in terms of new chains coming up, stealing a lot of market share, stealing a lot of TVL, stealing a lot of DeFi, and stealing the thunder around people using their chain. And so as someone that has been in crypto since 2016, you sort of understand how the cycles are very different to a lot of cycles in the past because trends do change and technology changes. And so Solana notably was cheaper and faster to use this cycle compared to the gas wars that we all had with NFTs in 2021, spending hundreds of dollars, right, to trade a meme or to buy some of these NFTs, to mint NFTs, whatever it was. And so I think fundamentally there's a massive shift for degen traders, but also for the common trader to be like, well, why would I trade on Ethereum when I can go trade on Solana or Sui on a way faster rate and on a way cheaper rate? And so it makes sense, right? As technology evolves, more competitors come in. And so I think that's a big reason that Ethereum has really struggled this cycle. But more notably, I think just Solana really captured that narrative. It was obviously severely undervalued after FTX was associated with Solana, but that obviously all came out after the fact that no, it was all sweet. And it was completely oversold. I remember buying Solana for about $17 to $30 US and being one of the best trades this cycle. And so, yeah, look, to be honest, that's where I sort of look at the moment. And then I like to take my sort of broader analysis around altcoins. So as I said before, I like to chart a particular meme or a particular altcoin against BTC itself. And then that'll show me whether that altcoin is maybe going to outperform BTC, like AVAX, for example, a great token in terms of utility, a token that was around in last cycle in 2021, but shows lower highs not only on its USD pair, but on its BTC pair. And so something like that is something that you need to consider when you're investing mainly in spot, because at the end of the day, something like Sui did outperform, or Solana did outperform BTC there for a good 18 months. And those are the ones that you want to be allocating to spot, and then obviously undertaking sort of a bit more exploration within their ecosystems. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Definitely does. Yeah, okay. With you've mentioned AVAX there, and it is interesting because we have all of these alts that kind of crop up over time. They stick around. They get those massive valuations from like that speculative blow off top that we had a couple of years back. Mm-hmm. And then you look at the actual utility that these things offer long term. And with Avalanche, and I'm probably going to shit Avalanche people if they're listening. I'm sorry, Red Triangle guys, but I really can't think of much beyond like DeFi Kingdoms since. They had like the Cock Inu meme coin, but apart from that, like there was very little that I saw from Avalanche that came through. And I think that's something that Solana did really, really well, was actually breaking into the mainstream and actually having a shitload of apps that people just started using. And it wasn't just this kind of ghost chain that had a big valuation or, you know, relatively low valuation in hindsight, but it wasn't just another alt L1 that stuck around. It actually developed shit that people wanted to use. And where I'm going with this is I'm kind of looking at Sui, and I'm wondering whether or not we get a similar thing where I'm really not sure. I don't own any Sui, but I'd like to have like to ask your take on where you think Sui goes. Like, do you think Sui could actually launch something that breaks into the same amount of mind share and capital generation that Sol did?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, I do think so. Like, if you look at Sui versus Solana, it is slightly better in terms of the tech, in terms of it's faster and cheaper. Look, you gotta take a stance at some point. Like, I will sell these assets. Like, that's the main thing. Like, I'll swing trade them out. They'll hopefully make me money. But at the end of the day, look, do I really care about the tech? Yeah, I do, but I don't. I'm here to make money. But I do think that it could steal some mind share, market share, away from Solana. I just think it's got time. Like, it has a severe amount of unlock still, whilst you've still got like huge investors bull posting it, like Raoul Paul, for example. A range of different people really are quite bullish on Sui as that sort of Solana disruptor, but again, they're both very bullish on Solana as well. So I think those sort of chains, those layer ones, are where we're heading, right? Where it's easy to use. There's apps, as you said, and that's the key one for Avalanche. Like, Avalanche is great with its subnets and with its gaming potential in terms of that Web 2 sort of adoption, right? But Solana really stole the share because it had MoonPay, it had all of these really easy interactive and I can't think of the word I'm trying to say, but like the connection between those apps, the connection between those apps and how easy it was to onboard people directly to Solana chain rather than having to go through a centralized exchange. That's the reason Solana has done so well this cycle.
Yeah, no, they killed it with like literally just Phantom Wallet, MoonPay, fiat in, bam, off you go. Like you don't have to do the whole buy on a CoinSpot, transfer from the CoinSpot to the thing. And it's just all these steps where you could lose your fucking money and you're like, I'm not doing that. And it's just brain dead easy for retail to be like, oh, there's shit coins on pump.fun. Oh, money in, doink. Yeah.
And that's it. Like they would add those meme coins to that app. Literally like as soon as they went viral, got to about 50 mil, they're on that app. And because like Trump, for example, was trending so giga viral, people were like, well, I can just buy that on my phone. Like it's so easy to do. So yeah, you're exactly right. That's why Solana is. But yeah, does Sui come out? I mean, sure, I do think it could. But I think that's still a bit of time away, in my opinion.
Yep. No, I'm of a similar mindset of like it needs to get those apps that are then just kind of littered on the timeline in a way that you start using them without realizing that you're on a specific, you're just naturally going there because other people are. Yeah. I still think it's a good time to start front running shit there of like just buying the major memes of a couple of different things that you think could pop off at some point. I was a fucking idiot and like farmed like Eclipse, the Solana EVM, which is now just shitting itself with Move this morning because the founders come out with all these allegations. So I have a really good knack for farming like the junk stuff.
the
wrong stuff. Wherever I go, just look elsewhere. And that's something I also wanted to bring up with airdrops, as you mentioned before. I don't know if you have even checked this out. It might have closed now, but Bearer Chain had a thing for Kaito yappers. You could just connect your Kaito into Bearer Chain and claim the airdrop. So I'm not sure if that's still live, but if you haven't checked that out, I would go check it because it was literally based on the number of yaps you had at TGE. And Bearer Chain just gave you an allocation. And I think I got like $4,000 of
No
Bearer.
way. Well, how many yaps do you have?
It wasn't that many. At the time, it was like 700-800 yaps. So fuck all. And it was,
how long ago was it? Because I might have been in the same ballpark then, around 1,000 yaps.
Yeah, it was like, sure. It was before I went to Indonesia in February. So it was in like late January. So fuck, it might be pushing it in terms of allo, but I would go check it out because someone from Bearer messaged me and was like, oh, hey dude, if you've got yaps, you can just claim Bearer straight from their website. And I was like, cool.
Okay.
So
I will go have a look and see if I still qualify or not.
Paid for flights to Indo. So I was like, thank you, Bearer Chain. I'm sorry, but you haven't converted me into a user, but I will take the free capital. But yeah, with airdrops, man, what are you looking at now in terms of shit that you see as good potential?
I think like Kyoto is definitely one of them. Like it's the biggest launch pad right now for a lot of people, for a lot of new chains, for a lot of new, not necessarily chains as well, but like ongoing projects that have been around for a long time. Dot's on there, Say's on there. Few new opportunities. Obviously, maybe Abstract will have some allocation there as well. DeFi protocols are on there as well. So that's definitely one. If you've got a bit of a following, if you enjoy tweeting, literally go up the Mindshare boards and you can get monthly payouts from a lot of these. I nearly got onto the Say leaderboard, but I'm 43rd this month, so I should hopefully lock in maybe $1,000 just for tweeting about Say. That's number one. Number two is definitely Abstract. I just think you got to look at a few things. Like a lot of airdrops are just like hype until that point of time, and then no product fit after it. Right? It's just the same traders going to the same platform, trying to extract as much liquidity for themselves, and then they move on to the next sort of trend and meta, right? Abstract's a bit different because it's the consumer chain, and that's how they sold it initially. And I've been there since day one, and it certainly is the consumer chain. If you're a gamer, if you're a streamer, if you're a clipper, if you're a dev, if you're a builder, if you're a trader, you can literally use this platform. And so I love that, and I understand trends enough that if it gets enough volume, which it has with a few viral sort of things recently, we obviously had Cambria, which has a prize pool of 1.4 million, probably the most popular game we've seen in crypto for a long, long time, and they will have another season coming out soon. Then you had obviously Bitcoin, which is that Ponzi that went giga viral. I think my Twitter, some of the most viral tweets I've had literally from that Bitcoin thing. So yeah, things like that bring a lot of eyes to the platform, but it translates to volume and it translates to users on the platform. And so Abstract for me is definitely one. And obviously for those people that don't know what Abstract is, it's in conjunction with the Pudgy Penguin ecosystem with Luca. And essentially it's the L2 of that. And so I do think Abstract becomes a competitor to Base, and if not, is probably nearly a better experience. However, people go to Base to trade Ethereum sort of these days, right? Like they go and trade those memes. I mean, virtuals have gone quite crazy over the past couple of weeks as well. And that's what I mean. Like there's so many opportunities in crypto. The Berachain airdrop that you just mentioned too, like I didn't even know about that. And so that's what I mean. Like I could have wallets that have thousands in them and I don't even realize. So that's the beauty of crypto. But I think my focus is always focus on what you think the next big trend will be, and spend time becoming good at that, and then go hard at that. And you can't take every opportunity. Like I get DMs all the time about potential memes or potential new chains, and I just have to say, look, I think it'll do well. I can't do that with the time that I have.
Yeah. No, the Kaito leaderboard, like they very much gamified and created like a centralized platform where you can essentially just actually see where you rank on a potential airdrop. So they very much created a dashboard where if you go there and there's projects that you like or just projects that you're interested in, like, I mean, I've literally just shitpost on Twitter and I should probably start changing that strategy, but and actually, I don't know. I saw a tweet the other day of like, oh, people on here only like you if you make them money, and I'm kind of like, oh, I don't think I've ever
I don't think
made anyone make money on this fucking app. It's literally just junk. So yeah, I got to up the Twitter game. But with that, like Infinex, have a leaderboard on Kaito as well. I'm like an early investor in Infinex. I fucking love the actual protocol itself. So there's just all these products that you can go check out. If you actually like them as well, I think is really important, because otherwise it can just become disingenuous slop a bit too quickly, where if you're just blamming every single protocol of like, here's why I like this restaking platform, and it's like, brother, you don't know what the fucking restaking platform is.
Mate. Let's be honest. Yeah.
But hey, there's also an element of that too, of like, if you think it's undervalued, then hey, if there's no one tweeting about it and it's on Kaito,
exactly,
there's your arbitrage. Like if it's got a really small community, fuck it. Like and
to add fire to that fuel, like if that's perfect for someone that's a smaller creator, grow your brand initially through one or two of these opportunities that have way less people talking about them because everyone else is talking about the others, and you will start to earn a bit of capital. You start to earn some brand deals, whatever it is, partnerships. You get paid out for their airdrop, whatever it is. I think that's the key. A lot of people get angry at me. They're like, Greeny, like, I don't know, like I'm just a mid tier. I wouldn't even call me a big influencer, but it's like, they're like, Greeny, it's so much easier when you have followers. And I said, yeah, but do you know how much time I've put in over the past 2 years to grow the brand to where it is today? And they're like, no. And I'm like, I've spent 5 to 10 hours on Twitter every day for the past 2 years to get to this sort of level. If you put in that consistency, I promise you'll get there too. And so they're like, oh yeah, no, fair enough. And I was like, yeah, exactly. I was not paid anything for 18 months. And now I'm starting to reap opportunities because I put in that hard work over time. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. And so I really help people in that regard and say, look, shift your mindset around, look at opportunities that less people are talking about, particularly with this Kyoto launchpad. It's fantastic. Like, it's great for any type of sized Twitter account. And as you said, there's opportunity there every single day.
Well, you can literally scroll down and see what's actually getting attention and what's not, and think, okay, well, this one isn't doing so hot. There's no one talking about it. Off you go. And I think that is a thing, like with smaller follower accounts, it's like everyone always has a fucking must be nice mentality with anyone that's doing better than them, I think. Not everyone. That's a very broad generalization, but that is very common. And it's kind of like, well, if you're a smaller account, then you can go do whatever you want and it doesn't matter. So you don't even have to worry about too much about the opportunity cost. Whereas I think larger accounts really do, because it's like, 100%. Oh shit, large following. I don't want to seem disingenuous. I want to do something that actually matters. And then you're competing with other larger accounts, which is its own game in and of itself.
100%.
So yeah, it's all just different levels to it. Do you think that sell in May, go away, still good advice. I know you put a stream up about it recently. I'd love to hear what you have to say on this, because I was just on a podcast maybe a week or two ago with a couple of my close mates talking about how this time's different and how we said the exact same thing a year ago. And we're like, no, not selling. And then we ended up riding whiff from 4.5 down to like 2. And we're like,
yeah,
good. So what are your thoughts on the sell in May, go away this time around?
Oh, it's a difficult question, but I'm gonna be in the camp with you and say I do think it's going to be different this time. This cycle we've front run a lot pre halving all time highs. That's never happened before. Consolidation post halving was probably front run to new all time highs as well. Previously, it took a lot longer. And then even the dip from that high to where we have recently been at 74K, that was a lot more of a front run, even compared to 2021. So I do think we're front running a lot this cycle. And so what I mean by that is that this sort of move from 74 to 95, I think we're at the moment, is a front run in terms of maybe where we would have seen previous cycles play out. So the sort of dip that we had in February, March, April, start of April, is where we would have had it in the past over EU and USA summits, right? So our winter. But I do think if you do take a look at an analytical perspective on historical returns, May actually has 7% BTC increase positive returns. And so there's only 2 months in the year that BTC actually has negative returns, and it's actually June, 0.3%, and it's in September, which has a larger amount of percentage returns to the downside. So I think that sort of tells you the story of where I do think price can go. I think we might oscillate a little bit longer whilst, as I said earlier, the fundamentals start to change. Rates come down, more money comes into the ecosystems, maybe they print more money, those sorts of things. Tariff news really cools down a bit. And so that takes time. And I do think that maybe May won't be the most bullish month, but I do think that it's going to be more bullish than a lot of people are probably thinking.
Yeah. I think we're starting to see like the structural shift come in for BTC as well. Of like, it's not just the hyper speculative risk asset. And I'm like, I don't want to be one of the decoupling bros that's like, dude, we're fully decoupled. We're our own industry now. We're no longer a risk asset. It's like I saw that like 2 weeks ago, right before BTC was just a lagging dump. And I was like, okay, fantastic. But it is that kind of thing where there's institutional capital that is buying this now, and it's putting the floor under it in a way where it isn't just retail freaking out every time there's a 5-10% dip and then making that a 20% dip. It's fucking ETF accounts being like, oh well, it's in there now, who cares? And so you've just got this big floor in under BTC, and that kind of changes the way that I think you get that reflexivity up and down. So yeah, well, hopefully May is different. That would be fucking ideal. I'm actually not allocated to markets really at all in terms of spot at the moment. I'm still parked in stables. I've been taking a few degenerate swings here and there. Most of them misses on kind of on meme coins, to be entirely honest. Like, it hasn't been, and that's why I've just been playing with really small amounts. The only like decent exposure I've had is through perps on memes. So I've just been hitting some like small perp trades. Like, I'm like a battered wife with Popcat, man. I rode that all the way. It had a great bounce. But it's the coin where I feel like I know the chart better than other ones, and so I just tend to swing. Like, I just tend to go there and trade it.
Great strategy.
And so there's certain times of the day where, you know, it puts in the nicest moves. I feel like I can actually chart it better. There's so much stuff with the Sol memes where everything's just kind of lags Fartcoin by a few hours. So you can literally just watch Fartcoin rip and think, all right, cool. Where do I want to go and look out on Sol that's going to run hardest next? Housecoin was such a clear one in hindsight. The traction that picked up, I first saw it at like 6-7 and was looking at, I threw like a couple Sol in, still have it. And it's a nice, you know, clean, 10, 12x from, it's 100 mil. So it's more than that now. But it was the kind of thing where I had stables on the side that I was like, this could be the one. And I was like, I don't trust these conditions. I still have PTSD.
But that's it, eh? Like, and so many people didn't buy the fear. They didn't buy the Bitcoin at 74. They didn't buy a house coin at 3 mil, 5 mil. And then sure enough, it rips because the rest of the market rips, right? But no, the influencers really took that one from 20 mil to 100 mil, that's for sure.
Lexapro trades well done, man. That guy's fucking killed it. I want to get him on the show to chat about the house coin. Like, he was putting shit into organic content for it as well, like getting people on the street, putting up flyers, like redefining what it is to work for your bags. And I'd like to see that from meme coin teams, of just like a couple of guys being like, all right, that's it. Posters everywhere. You're like, fuck yeah, IRL branding, let's go.
And then once you get those top two, like those top tier influencers doing it themselves too, like generating their own content on it, that's the shift. And that's why memes go to 100 mil. That's
it. The Ansem tweet was what did it, of just like, oh, house coin looks good here. You're like, fuck, damn it, there goes that.
There's a big green candle. Yeah, dude. Yeah,
straight to, it even ran to 30, and I was about to go on like a camping, like kind of trail running trip. And I saw it as I was like getting in the car, saw the Ansem tweet, and I was like, nah, it's 30 mil. It's probably run here.
Yeah.
Didn't buy
3x
anymore.
Up, 4x up now. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, no. But yeah, back to Bitcoin. Do you think that we see lows before we rip again? I know a lot of people that are kind of waiting for a pullback down to like, you know, high 80s, like 87, 88 before a bounce. I don't know. What's your read structurally on it as to how it plays out next couple of days, shorter time frame?
Yeah, shorter time frame, tough one actually. I am in the short right now, purely just based on liquidity levels and momentum, as you say, on lower time frames would suggest either consolidation or a slight pullback into some swing fibs is what I'd be looking for. Yeah, look, I think short term, it's actually hard because I do see like the weekly stochastic, for example, is very bullish and we're well above the pivot and it's literally overbought territory, moving up with strength, probably match that with volatility, and that's a big aggressive move to back to six figures, if not 115K. So I am in that short, as I said, but I'm a bit cautious that I might actually open a hedge long, and then whichever sort of breakout on the lower time frames that we take, then I just stop loss the other opposite trade and then take that other one towards the target. But no, I'm in the camp that I want to see, like I want, rather than what will happen, I want to see a slight pullback, as you said, to capitalize again, DCA into some longs, maybe even buy some spot SUI, spot Solana, those sorts of things as well. Spot BTC probably, definitely. And so, yeah, look, it's a tough time right now. We're at a real important level because if we lose 91, that becomes a very big sort of support resistance zone again. If you look at where price was throughout the end of 24 and into 2025, 91 was a key bounce level. And then when we lost it, we capitulated to 74. So, yeah, look, I probably lean bullish. I lean bullish. If you look at the chart, macro structure, I would lean bullish in the coming weeks. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thoughts on ETH from here? I know that a lot of stuff is happening with like on the tech side, the guys, like all the core devs are now kind of admitting, all right, fuck it, L2's got out of hand. Let's go back to scaling the L1.
Yeah.
And that's really a good sign because I think a lot of people in the market were kind of hoping for that kind of switch. ETH tends to take longer. That's the whole point. ETH is based around, well, we'll change the rules and we'll fix things up, but it'll happen, slower relative to Solana, which is we'll just change the rules any minute of the day and give people what they fucking want quick. What's your read on ETH from here? Because I feel like personally, and I've been kind of not an ETH hater, but I've been much more allocated to Sol and Sol Eco over the last 18 months, and I'm very glad to have done that. Yeah. And Sol ETH, I think, put in a pretty decent top a couple of weeks ago. And just that trend of Sol ETH looks really good for Sol compared to ETH long term. Yeah. But I also am tentatively have like one foot in the camp of like, this is probably the point where you buy ETH. Just because it's like, if you actually think about the tech and all of the stuff that's being done on it and the amount of room that it has to grow, I'm fairly confident that it's a $1 trillion asset in a few years' time. But just whether or not Solana can continue to take that mind share and kind of beat it at its own game is something that I'm, kind of undecided on and haven't positioned accordingly. So I'm just kind of sitting on the sidelines and watching for what starts to happen. What do you think?
Well, I I agree. I think ETH has a place to stay, and I think it is a top tier asset in cryptocurrency. I think the three that you talk about, BTC, Solana, ETH, like those three, you could add XRP to that as the fourth. They're here to stay. Like there's no doubt about it. And with the tech improvements, as you said, with Ethereum, I do think it does have potential. It's just going to take a long time. Against BTC, it's just going to keep struggling until it defines its sort of more of the tech rather than a store of wealth. That's the whole reason people go to BTC, right? It's a store of wealth. It's a completely decentralized asset, right? Like that's the point. It's an easy asset for people to buy and hold as an accumulation of wealth. Ethereum, different product. It's a chain that you can use to build on. Layer 2s, you can build on layer 0s, layer 3s, whatever you want to call it these days. And so I do think it's going to take time. If you look at a chart of Ethereum, it looks horrible against BTC. It looks horrible as the
ETH BTC chart does not inspire confidence. It is it's a sad story.
Yeah, it's making new lows. The ETH dominance chart as well, which is one that I like to consider, is also approaching new all-time lows. And again, that goes back to the conversation I said earlier, is new tech, new innovation, competitors come into the market and steal away mind share and market share, right? And so I do think ETH has a place as a hedge, because as you said, like you don't have exposure yet. I do. I bought a punk recently. Unfortunately, had a scam hack last week, which resulted in a loss of quite a bit of dosh. I mean, we could talk about that a little bit. But I did decide to liquidate my punk, just again to have capital liquid available to trade. But I always saw NFTs, particularly a punk, and then I bought a big pudgy instead of the punk as my new Twitter PFP. And my thesis around that is I would rather own top tier NFTs on Ethereum as a hedge on Ethereum, whilst Ethereum sort of sorts its shit out. And once it does sort of have those tech improvements, once it starts to look better on charts, it broke down from a lot of levels. That's when I might be like, okay, well now I've hedged enough ETH in these assets. Okay, let me liquidate that back into Ethereum and maybe hodl the bag of Ethereum rather than the NFT anymore. And so my thesis on the punk and my thesis on the big pudgy and the little pudgy, I own one of them as well, is actually a hedge on Ethereum to have Ethereum exposure at the moment.
Okay. I think that's pretty wise of like, well, if you're going to have the ETH, you may as well have like the leveraged beta to it. And I think that's what a lot of people almost like revert to with ETH memes, like Pepe and Mog as well.
Yeah,
kind of
exactly,
like, well, instead of owning native ETH, if I'm actually bullish on ETH and I want to receive real upside, I'll own the Pepe and the Mog and the NFTs, like the blue chip kind of collections that especially when something like Abstract is being built out, you can have pretty like good vote of confidence that pudgies will retain value moving forward. And then there's just the CryptoPunk artifact side. I'm very sorry to hear that you like had to liquidate the punk. What happened with the hack, man? You can share as many details as you want, but fuck.
Yeah.
What was the lowdown
socially
there?
engineered phishing links, multi-week scam. Potential investment opportunities, fake interviews as well. Zoom has like this limitation as well that a few people have struggled with on the timeline as well, where they automatically share your screen and they get access. Yeah, crazy. Like, so you can't be too careful in this space. And now I only literally meet on like people that I fully dox and all those sorts of things. So no, unfortunately I lost it. I've been dealing with obviously the legal side of it all over the past week or two. And in the nature that crypto is and the jurisdictions that all these exchanges currently partake in, it looks like the money is probably gone, which inevitably it pretty much is gone as soon as you lose those sorts of things. And these guys were pretty well adversed at dealing with the stolen funds. So I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of people, that would hurt a lot of people. And don't get me wrong, it was a big bag, 25% of the port, probably 30%. So you just have to let it go as much as you can and bounce back from that. And lucky enough, like I've got my GTG community and we've been doubling down on a lot of trades there and done super well. And so now I'm just going full strength back into the business and that side of things. So money comes and goes. As long as you're healthy, as long as you got the brand there, that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you haven't checked him out already, this is one of the guys that I've had like recommended to me for hacks and stuff. Particularly on ETH is the Seal 911 team.
Yeah.
They're
I reached out to them.
Okay, cool. Yeah, they're fucking awesome at like asset recovery. Just literally like, predominantly on-chain ETH. They're good. But yeah, okay, cool. No, glad you're across it. Before you mentioned BTC Sol, ETH as your three majors, and then you wanted to chuck XRP in there as well. This is something that I feel like really rubs crypto natives the wrong way, and it's not something they realized until XRP and a bunch of the other quote unquote like Dino coins, Cardano and stuff kind of really ran hard at the end of last year. It was very much that thing of like, ugh, no, don't go buy those things. They do nothing. Yep. What's your reasoning behind XRP? Because I know it's like there's an entirely separate world in which XRP is very much seen as like I mentioned to the guy at the cafe that I go to, like just having a little chat, and he's like, "Oh, what do you do for work?" I said crypto. He's like, "Oh, XRP."
Yeah,
like it is the first word out of people's mouth anytime you mention crypto to someone that isn't in crypto. So how does that happen? Why? What the fuck is the go with XRP? Because it's something that I've never owned. I've never gone near it.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't be buying it here. I'd buy it in the middle of a bear market. But it has a place because of its tech. Like that, again, the XRP army is another whole conversation. But if you look at the tech and its integration with banks and what it actually already does for the industry, then it makes total sense that something like XRP is going to be around for a very long time and is embedding completely into what crypto achieves. So that's mainly the thesis that I come from as that sort of that pioneer in those top four that you can't really argue don't have a place, at least in the next 5 to 10 years. But the XRP army, who knows where that started from? I don't know. Like, because like you think about social media too, like TikTok and stuff, like XRP predates those sort of apps, like even Instagram and whatnot. So it's fascinating. As you said, like the conversations usually, if you're talking to a normie, is a viral meme coin because they've seen it, XRP, Dogecoin because it's the obvious one, or Bitcoin. Like it's just crazy. It's not Solana, it's not Ethereum, it's those four. It's crazy to think about.
Dude, the number of times that XRP is the first thing, and I know shockingly little about it, and people like just random dude in the sauna the other day was like, "Oh, cool, man. What do you think of XRP?" And I was like, "Holy fuck!" What? I actually don't know. I don't know. Like, I hear all this stuff. Like, it's almost the meme of like they're replacing Swift, but then I'm yet to look into it properly, and I should probably do my due diligence before I, like either speak too positively or negatively about it on the show. But from what I can tell, they're offering their Ripple stablecoin. I think they're also offering USDC now on chain as well. So it's just like a whole nother source of liquidity. They have fuckloads of money in their foundation.
And ETFs now as well. Yeah.
So there's probably lots of good reasons to own it. Whether or not you can square it with your own, rational thinking of how crypto works as a quote unquote crypto native, fuck it. Like there's probably some upside to be had there, like in the longer term. But again, no fucking idea. You've run up a pretty decent amount of money. You said you've been in crypto since 2016, so that's coming on 9 years now. Fuck yeah. I didn't get in until like late 2020, early 2021. Classic. Just
honestly, a lot of people I talk to, about that time frame. Yeah,
had really annoying mates that were like, "Dude, you've got to check out crypto." They were working finance at like crypto startups. Like, dude, you have to buy Bitcoin, ETH, and I think I bought like a couple $100 of each in 2020. And then when it went up a lot, and I was sitting inside during COVID, I was kind of like, "Wait, what have we got here?" But you're in crypto since 2016. You've done pretty well for yourself. What are the key things that you think people either getting into crypto now or still dabbling, looking to get into it more? They're just getting on chain. They're starting to buy some more coins on centralized exchanges. This kind of level, that entry point into crypto before they go fully off the fucking deep end. Hopefully they don't. Save yourselves. Just keep it low key. What's your advice to those kinds of people? What are the key things that they should be aware of? Because crypto's notoriously not fun for new entrants, and I think that's a big
100%.
issue. Yeah.
The first two things I would say is find a supportive community that you can learn with. So learn how to trade, learn where to trade, learn about risk, learn about portfolio management, risk management. And again, we teach all of that in the group. A supportive community that you can rely on every day. Not only the callers or the traders, but the people in the group who have learnt the strategies over time will help you grow and fast track your journey. So finding a supportive community is probably number one for anybody out there, because if you're trying to do this all by yourself, it's this huge mountain of tasks, understanding, knowledge, experience, failures, mistakes before you start to click and execute. And I'm a product of that. It took me 9 years to sort of execute consistently and unemotionally trade now. Just stick to your plan and your processes. So if you can fast track your journey by being in a supportive community who has those sort of people in it, perfect. The second one is to keep it simple. So many people overcomplicate things with indicators, overcomplicate trends. They think, all these sort of things have to happen, have to align for me to make money. No, mate. Like, you can make it so simple. Like, I use some of the most simple strategies to trade memes, to trade futures, to trade NFTs, airdrops. I keep it as simple as possible, and that's the key. Too many people use too many indicators or try and chase too many opportunities. Double down on what you're good at and double down on what you enjoy and go from there. That's probably the number 2, number 3 thing that I would highly suggest. But I think crypto is the best industry outside of AI in terms of innovation in the next 5 to 10, 20 years. So I definitely think you still got an upside here, even though BTC is king, and I think it runs to probably $1 million in maybe the next decade. But there's still so many opportunities to make money every single day. I mean, we spoke about a few of them today, like that Grok meme coin. 50 million inside a day. A guy in my group bought it at like 150K. He did sell out early, but there you go. There's a 100x literally waiting for you this morning. So keep it simple, sort of supportive community, and I think that's how you can succeed as a beginner.
Okay, no, it's good advice. Like, people, whenever I say that I do crypto stuff or spend all my time doing this shit, because I'm not really what I would call like a trader, in the sense of like, I'm more of a spot and chill guy. Of just like buying shit when it seems cheap, selling it when it seems expensive, and not too great at that. But for the majority of like normies, I think it does come down to like, it depends on the amount of time that you want to spend in this. And to almost everyone that's just like wants to have an allocation, it's probably like, buy Bitcoin, maybe some ETH, maybe some Sol, and then forget about it.
Literally, I agree.
That's it. That's all you have to do. It's always this thing of like, oh, but it's too. It's like, just if you want to get in, buy that, leave it.
And if you have some more time, then go deeper, then spend time learning, then spend time investing. Yeah.
I think people try and go straight into the speculative side straight away and then go immediately onto Pumpfun, and it's like, brother, no, that's not going to work.
I'll tell you a story. Like, I have a mate who I told him to buy Solana at like $20. I said, mate, buy Solana. This will probably be one of the best investments you could ever do. It runs up 15x from there.
Yeah, 280 almost, yeah.
Yeah. So about 15x from there, and he didn't buy it. But then he chased up this meme coin on Ethereum, and so he got into, I think it's called Land Wolf. He got in at 8 million, and he dropped like $8,000 into this, and ran up a portfolio of like $300,000. And I saw him at the cricket at the Gabba in December, and I said, mate, how much you have? He's like, yeah, I'm up like hundreds of thousands. I was like, okay, bro, take some profit. I said, look, like, as a trader who teaches people about this every single day, spoken to thousands of people who have VIP clients, all this sort of stuff. I was like, mate, take some off the table. He's like, yeah, no, whatever. He's like, he got his initials out, which is great, but then he left literally like 250K in this position. Fast forward through to where we are today, it's down at 20 million. It was a $200 million token, so it's down 90%, and his portfolio from 300 is all the way back down to $20,000. So keeping it, simple and sticking to Bitcoin as a start is the key. And then if you have the time, find some experienced people, some knowledgeable people, go and invest your time with them, and then you will reap dividends from that sort of investment strategy.
Yeah. I also think that to the point on kind of just buying memes and stuff, I think that you could actually enter the trenches maybe like a year ago and do quite well by almost just like covering your eyes and throwing a fucking dart and being 100%. Like, wait, it hit something. But now they've gotten really aggressive and like really competitive. And the idea that you're just going to stumble into a 100x at random is much, much lower. Like, I remember when Pump.Fun launched, you could literally just go on and buy something you thought was funny and just sit in it for an hour or two. in a coin and be like, oh, 4-5x on a Sol and just run it up that way. But now it's just like it'd probably be you're actually probably better off buying a scratchy and just going down and buying like lottery tickets, because at least the lottery tickets aren't actively trying to fuck you. You actually know what your chances are.
There's actually a chance. Exactly right, though. No, I agree. I think, as someone that was trading memes from 23 into 2024, so much easier to reliably go, no, well, this looks good. It's a viral trend. It's probably going to pump. And sure enough, it did, right? This year, it's a lot more stipulated by cabal groups, by marketing schemes, by insiders, bundles, all that sort of stuff. Like it's just going away from like, I've always focused on trading, and you can still trade memes. So rather than going in the trenches and looking for the potential right token, I would rather go to high volume tokens and find which ones give me a good setup, and I'll swing trade them aggressively for 2x profits and then walk away. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you compound 2x profits over time, best way to trade. And so, you're right. It's shifted from trading to gambling probably over the past sort of year or so, really. And so I do think memes have a place. I think society, if you look at it, it's very meme orientated these days. It's kind of marketing in a way as well when you think about it. And I think, trading memes will always be a fun part of crypto. And it's just so funny because, like, if you're in crypto and you're a meme coin trader and you see something like on the news, or you hear about it with a conversation with a friend, and you're like, oh, that thing happened. And the first thought I have as a degen meme coin trader is, I wonder if that was a ticker. I wonder if that was a meme coin that ran to 10 mil, right? Whereas these people that I'm sitting down having a coffee with are like, they wouldn't even like think like that. So it's just so funny your mind shift once you become a degen trader.
Yeah. Oh, it's like, oh fuck, I reckon there's a coin for that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I could be sitting at home right now making money.
It's bad. Fries the brain. Yeah, dude. I always like to kind of round out the show. It's with a question that just kind of gauges your sentiment moving forward. Kind of a broad question. You can answer it however you like, but most bearish on / most bullish on, or vice versa. So basically, and the time frame on that would be like end of the year. So thing that you think has the most upside and the thing that you think is probably done.
Oh, it's a tough question if I had to put it on one.
You can say a couple. You can throw in a basket of them on both sides, whatever you want.
Yeah, okay. I think BTC is king. I do think if you look at BTC dominance, it probably goes way high. So I think BTC towards the end of the year is probably the safe bet. If I look at a more risky sort of play, it would be dive into the ecosystems that are doing really well. So Solana's doing really well. So look at the altcoins in the Solana ecosystem. Sui's doing really well. So look at the altcoins within the Sui ecosystem. So Cetus is its DEX. So we printed on that recently. So that would be one that I would probably be pretty bullish on. In terms of more, I'd say Abstract / Airdrops in general, very bullish on that. Too many opportunities to make money for exploring new ecosystems, and making money during that exploration is key as well, and you can do that. Most bearish, ETH. I just don't see it really turning around. I'm bullish on NFTs, but not bullish on ETH. So bearish would be ETH. I also think bearish on a lot of those altcoins that aren't really proving themselves from last cycle. So look, Polygon, DOT, all those sorts of things, that Cardano, they're just not going to run it back. They're not going to run, and AVAX, they're not going to put in new all-time highs. It's as clear as cut. So that's probably where I'd be bearish as well.
Yeah, okay. No, I'm very much inclined to agree on both the fronts there. I don't know what's happening with Cardano. Like, Charles still comes out and talks shit on ETH, and you're like, brother, you don't have any users on your chain. There's no there's no apps. It's been 9 years.
It's like, what is it? Yeah.
How long has Cardano been around for? But yeah, man, no, it's a weird one. It's a fucking odd one. But yeah, dude, thanks so much for coming on the show, bro. Really appreciate it. Dude, where can people find you, and where do you want people to go? What do you want them to go check out?
Yeah, so create content on YouTube and Twitter. So it's just Greeny Trades, both of the usernames there. But if you want to jump into our trading group, where we've been trading since 2023 across all market trends, memes, altcoins, perps. Yeah, airdrops, NFTs, we have it all in there. DeFi as well. We teach you to become a better trader with the education in there as well. And it's just the wop.com link to GTG. So you can find us. Greeny's group on Twitter as well is where you can go for that. And it's in my bio link on my link tree as well. So you can check that out. But yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on, Tom.
Oh, mate, fucking awesome, dude. Thanks so much for coming on. I'll chuck all your socials in the description of the video as well. But yeah, dude, no, I really appreciate your time. You coming on and sharing all the stuff that you've shared today. It was awesome.
Thanks, mate.